it's almost as if what Canadian truckers are actually saying is correct. What they're actually saying, when you get to the essence of the matter, is they're saying this: all of the things you taught me about communism, you're doing now. You taught me that communism was this bad thing because it's social control, and it's forcing people, and it's taking away our rights and our liberties and our dignity and our human dignity and all that kind of stuff, and it's this tyranny. Well, you're doing that now. So that's the essence of their anti-communism. They are literally telling the liberal elites that this new form of capitalism is indistinguishable from all the shit they would say about communist states. And actually, many Marxists have pointed that out in different words. They've said, well, it's funny how all the things they warned us about in communism are happening under capitalism. People don't own homes anymore. People don't have any control over their lives anymore. They have nothing. They're under the total subordination and control of corporations. And we were being brainwashed. And like 1984 wasn't what happened in the Soviet Union. It's what's happening now, right? So at its essence, beyond the surface, their anti-communism is correct. When you actually look at what they're trying to refer to, they're right. They're just not using the right word. Instead of calling it communism, but okay, then the third thing you have to ask is, okay, I'm an educated communist, and I can clearly see that they're using the wrong word. They should not be calling it communism or denouncing communism. So how do we approach that? First and foremost, we have to patiently make it clear, one, before anything, what practical utility a real communism would have for them. I mean, you don't just go and say, you're wrong, actually you're wrong, because that doesn't matter. Actually, give them a reason to be sympathetic to communism. Give them a reason to change their views on communism by giving a new meaning to communism. So tell them and show them that communism in Canada means the convoy. Communism in Canada means the working class banding together and fighting the ruling class. Communism means abandoning the illusions that some of the self-proclaimed leaders of the convoy, who are duping people, are throwing on them. Communism means always support the working class. Yes, Pepe. Communism means, yes, we're against the vaccine mandates. The Russian communists are against it, so why shouldn't we tell them that? The Russian communists are against the vaccine mandates, so are we. Communism is better than the eclectic ideologies they're adopting now because communism will allow us to scientifically understand the forces behind all of these changes and what it means for us and what the key and the weapon. See, this is the tragic truth. The Freedom Convoy is doomed. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's not. It's doomed. Just like every other peasant uprising in history was doomed. It is doomed, right? But where communists come in and step in is that they say, listen, we have the keys to overthrow this working class, this ruling class that you hate, this great reset agenda, this tyranny of the liberal elites. We have the keys to overthrow them, and we should prove that to them. We should prove that to them. It's our duty to prove it to them. That's the first thing you do. And then on top of that, you also patiently educate them. Education's important. Patiently talk to them. Educate them on how they've gotten it wrong and how we've been lied to about communism in Russia and China, and we've been lied to about communist history, and that in fact communist history will show that we're aligned with them, and give them the meat and potatoes. Communism doesn't mean, thank you Chris Morlock, communism doesn't mean we're going to take your shit away and control you, and you're not going to be able to have your own trucks or your own businesses or your own livelihood. We're going to aggregate you and force you to be in a whatever. It doesn't mean we're going to make everyone equal and do all this shit. Patiently explain to them what communism actually does mean. And what communism actually does mean is land reform. We're going to break monopolies and give you land to start off on. And that's what our common social goal is, that the people, right, should have means of production. That's the goal of communism. Forgive debt. That's another thing and that's what I'm going to get into, which I didn't on Twitter, but that's what we're going to get into tonight, is the debt question, which no one's paying attention to when it comes to these Canadian truckers, okay? So you can see, if you have a problem with false ideological consciousness among the working class, you don't use that as an excuse to denounce the working class, the material substrate. What you do is prove the worth of these ideas. Prove it to them that they should think of communism differently. That's your duty. That's your responsibility. So this person did not make an argument, actually. She did not make an argument. All she did was point out potentially that they have ideological views she disagrees with. But she did not make an argument as to the question of whether they are working class or not, right? Whether this is the rank and file and the base of a potential communist movement. And despite what she's trying to say about actual communists, there are no actual communists in Canada, just like there are no actual communists in America. We don't have a communist movement. Communism basically means nothing in both of these countries. In both Canada and America, communism is either a straw man of the right, or it's a form of liberal edginess to the extreme, which is also based on the straw man that right-wingers have created. So there's no real meaning to communism in America and Canada. We have to import the meaning. We have to give sense to it in an authentic way, okay? But so this second prong, so the first prong, that they're Nazis, Confederate flag, that's debunked. The second prong, ideologically, they're not communist or they're anti-communist. Again, that's just idealism. That has nothing to do with a materialist view. And some idiot was like, okay, Haz, so are you saying that these people are just going to spontaneously become communists? No, I'm not saying that, because that's where communists are supposed to come in. That's where you're supposed to actually try and lead the movement and prove your worth in giving them these ideas. But it's like, it's so simple. That's literally what class consciousness is supposed to be about. All of this is in literature from 150 years ago. Marx and Engels talked about it. The Social Democrats talked about it. Lenin talked about it. Stalin, Mao, it's very simple. Communists are the ones who are supposed to give form to the content. The content is not going to spontaneously become communist. Scientific socialism is not ever going to arise spontaneously. You need an organ, a spirit, a head that independently formulates this. It's not just gonna come from the ground. What's gonna come spontaneously is chaos. And yes, other forms of socialism take a very eclectic and yes, oftentimes problematic form. I mean, Karl Kautsky called anti-Semitism the socialism of fools. Why? Because spontaneously, anti-Semitism would become popular among the working class. Of course, other forms of reactionary socialism become popular. Conspiracy theories are very big, although some of them are actually correct, right? But yes, some believe in reptilian alien shapeshifters. Some believe in that communists control us, which actually has some grounding in reality, to be honest. Some of them believe in the Illuminati. Again, these are all things that actually do have a grain of truth, to be honest. But they have all sorts of beliefs. Some of them are free market Austrians, right? I mean, some of them, I don't know, they like Jordan Peterson, or they watch Steven Crowder. I don't know. I mean, there's just chaos. It's what it is chaos. And communists are not supposed to denounce chaos, but represent the logos that arises out of the chaos. As Dugin would put it, communists represent the logos that emerges from the chaos. That is what scientific socialism is. It's not just gonna be born spontaneously. It's going to be delivered by the wet nurse, the chora, the substrate, right? The ground, the impenetrable depth of chaos, the chora. In Platonic language, the wet nurse will deliver the chora. Deliver the logos with our assistance. Communism is very simple, yes. It's all very simple, what I'm saying. Do you follow me? Because I don't know why this should ever be controversial. I don't know why there's a dispute about it, or a debate, or a controversy. I don't know why anyone would ever, contest. What about this is hard to comprehend?